Nah.
Hey. You vibing, Wayne?
Of course, you already know this.
Dope. Well, hi everybody. I am Ciara. This is Wayne. And welcome to Secure the Bag. It is episode 2. How y'all feeling today? Y'all feeling good? Y'all feeling fine? How are you feeling today, Wayne? Tell me.
Sierra, I'm loving today. It is a beautiful Thursday. We are 8 days away from Christmas, as my kids continuously remind me.
Yeah.
This is like the most exciting time of year. It's Thursday, Friday Junior, as my sister-in-law likes to call it. So I'm hyped. How about you?
I know that you're trying to get a PS5. Did you end up getting it? What happened? Are the kids listening?
I hope my son's not listening. But yes, we did. We spent a lot of time trying to secure that bag, and
Secure the PS5.
we did. Bag secured. Not only did we get one, we got 3.
Dope.
For me, my son, my brother-in-law, and then my other brother. So
Okay, so party at your house.
Yeah, for those people invited only. The rest of you people, we'll stream it or something like that. So
Fair. Well, I am really excited. I don't know what I'm doing for Christmas. I haven't secured anything. Got to do a lot of shopping this weekend. Got to do all the things. But I am so excited to be here with you guys. Like I said, it's the second episode of Secure the Bag.
Let's go.
And last episode, it was what did we talk about? We talked about fumbling the bag. So what Secure the Bag is if it's your first time watching this with us and joining us, it is an opinionated show about the strategies that drive startup success. So we're trying to really help you out here, right? So last episode, if you missed it, we talked about fumbling a bag, and we used 5 examples of major companies that we all know and love, or maybe you didn't love it. And we kind of just dropped some truth on those and said why they ended up failing. But this episode, we are getting into truth bombs. Can you elaborate on the truth about the hustle? What does that mean?
Man. All right. So episode 2, truth about the hustle. And honestly, overall, we're just going to be diving deep and having some really opinionated conversation on main hustles versus side hustles. Everyone has their own opinions, their own thoughts, their own feedback on, what I should be doing with my side hustle, if my side hustle should become my main hustle. This has been the year that, everyone's had to pivot and do things. So some people want to jump into full-time entrepreneurship. People are always wanting to have control, lifestyle freedom, right? So you want to be able to not work for a boss, or maybe you do feel like working for a boss. So we're going to be talking about a lot of truths today based in some facts and understanding, is it really time to leave my side hustle, my main hustle, for my side hustle? Maybe you don't have a side hustle. Maybe we're talking about, is it time for you to create a side hustle? So we're going to be going into some truth stuff tonight.
Well, before we even get into that and dropping the truth bombs, Wayne, do you have a side hustle and a main hustle, or how does that work? I know I do.
For sure. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for most of my adult life. My father was an entrepreneur, so it was modeled before me pretty consistently. So there's never been a time that I wasn't trying to build something in addition to my main hustle. I was one of the ones that was fortunate enough and still fortunate enough to have a 6-figure business in addition to another hustle. So, and I'm a full proponent, and no matter how much success you have, you should always be trying to build the next thing, because 2020 could happen, or something similar to happen, and you'd be in trouble. So yes, for sure, I'm a huge fan of having a main hustle and a side hustle.
Nice. And I also want to open up the conversation to our audience before we really start diving in. Join the conversation. Make sure you're in the comments and talk with us. Tell us what you think about the topic as we're going through them. And let's get started.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Truth bomb number 1.
All right. Kicking this off with truth bomb number 1. Listen, you can do both, right? And it's very, very prevalent on the internet today where everybody wants to tell you what to do, right? Everyone wants to tell you how to act. And here we are coming in, dropping truth bombs, right? But here's the truth, right? That you can decide what's best for you. But if you really want to grow and you really, really want to build, this isn't about just having a single source of income. In most cases, an average millionaire, if that's what you're aspiring to be, has 7 streams of income. All right. That means they have a main hustle and several side hustles. This isn't, for the everyday entrepreneur to be able to get to that, because you got to focus on one thing and then be able to build. I'm a huge fan on not multitasking, which is Ciara is pretty opposed to. Focusing on one thing and then being able to develop that one thing into several other things. So while you are working your main hustle and you come and you're working your 9 to 5, let's say, because that's it, I got my 9 to 5. What are you doing from 5 to midnight? Right? If you got kids, you get 5 to 8, right? Where you got to deal with your kids and hopefully get them to bed. My kids go to bed a little bit later, which puts me up a little bit later. So instead of 5 to 8, I got like 5 to 10, and then 10 to like 1 or 2 if I need to be able to work on my quote unquote side hustles. It's a really big thing that most people don't understand, is that you have to do both if you want to be able to see. You can do both. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to come home. Well, what a lot of us do, we come home, we pop down on that couch like we talked about last show, and what do? Netflix. Boom. We're binging 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and that's it. You know what I mean? So what we can do to offset that is really sit down and focus not all of your time, but a strategic amount of your time in the evenings, early in the morning, if you get up, to be able to move from your side hustle, from your main hustle to your side hustle, so that they both can grow.
Right. Nice. And I want to go straight into a comment right here that's special to my heart. We can do all things through Christ. Rhythmically chant, hey.
Hey. And it's the truth, right? Like, we can do it. It can be done. It's not impossible. We are out here. You have the support more than you probably think that you have, but you got to go and be ready to put in that work. You got to want to do both. All right, so let's jump in real quick, Ciara, to some of the facts, right? Because entrepreneurship has an allure. It has like this, oh man, I get to do X, Y, and Z. Well, listen, small businesses with no employees, meaning people just kind of starting out, have an average annual revenue of just under $47K for the year.
Now, wait. I'm going to pause you right there. Is that a good number? Is that a bad number? How do we feel about this number? How do y'all feel about this number? Because in some places, 46.9, that's not that bad.
Where?
In the city, debatable.
I don't know where it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. All respect to people who are building with $50K a year jobs and doing what you're trying to do. But if you all you got is a $50K a year job in your business, and you're not really having any other thing to supplement that, it's going to be challenging, right? Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People have lost jobs, and rent is crazy in some places. So for an average throughout the entire continental United States, and even the world, like, to be at $50K from your business won't be able to sustain you long term for what you're trying to do. You're going to want more. You're going to want to do more. Most business owners definitely want to do more than just $46K a year.
Okay, fair.
All right.
And then to the next fact.
86% of small business owners make less than $100,000 in income. So we break this down. We do the inverse. So that means about 14% are at 6 figures or higher. It's a challenging number, right? Like, when you left your job making $50K a year, did you think that you would go into a business making $50K a year? Because the thought is like, oh, I get my freedom back. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you're going to have to work, right? You're going to have to do, instead of doing just one job, you're going to have to do 5. You might have to do 10. You might have to do 12. The goal is to be able to grow and have some freedom and flexibility, to be able to do the things that you want to do. And 6-figure has always been like kind of like that magic number. Growing up, people like, what's success? They're like 6 figures, right? That's the first metric of success. So this is just another indication about the bomb that we dropped, which is you can do both, right? It'd be great if you're making $46K a year from your business and another $46K a year from your 9 to 5. Like, how does that sound, right? Does that sound like something good, or is it, average? So the goal here is to be able to have a pathway for sustainability. And in order to do that, you shouldn't just jump straight in. Definitely, you can do both. And then the last point is only 40% of small businesses are profitable, right? So while that annual revenue number, and we'll want to key in on that revenue, right? 46K in revenue. That's before anything else is paid.
Yeah,
that's just how much.
Too.
That's the top line. So only 40% are profitable. Who knows what you're taking home after everything is paid and done in taxes and things like that. So definitely something to consider and something to think about when we're thinking about which one do I want to do, my side hustle or my main hustle. Just reiterates the point. You can do both, yeah.
Right. And I have an opinion right here from Cleton. He says, yeah, man, 46K is good. It's better than making 0 and running around telling everybody you're a business owner. Watching eyes.
Well, yeah, I mean, this kind of gets into our notes for what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, but to actually make money as a business, you're doing well, right? And don't let anyone tell you that you're not doing well. The key to this particular truth bomb that we're talking about is like, what's the best way for you to be able to achieve that goal that you're looking for? And the best way is to do both. But if you're already out there, you're already doing it, you made 46K, congrats, kudos, pat on the back, you're doing fantastic.
Love it. Now, let's get into our takeaway for this one.
All right. So the takeaway, and as you guys know, we do our 2020 takeaways because hindsight is 2020, right? So your best chance to get your side hustle is to get your side hustle become your main hustle, is to leverage your main hustle to fund your side hustle. As many of you know, it costs to live, right? So in order to be able to live at a level of means today, it's about sacrificing what you have today, not going off to the glitz and the glamorous things, but using that money, investing in your business, investing into the advertising, investing into your product or service to make it excellent, right? You want to be able to have a product that people want to buy. And sometimes that costs money. Like that designer who's charging you, $500, $1,500, $25, $5,000 for that website. It's not that they're trying to rip you off. Your brand is super important here in 2020 and beyond. So definitely invest in the right things today so that you can make the life the way that you want to later.
Right. I think it's just really important for people to realize, especially now and this year, that we need to just take a beat. Like, you may feel that your main job just ain't it. You're super passionate about your side hustle. You're super passionate about the business that you are growing. And you're really excited that you're a new entrepreneur, right? You're getting out there and this is your baby. But at the same time, it's just like, you have to realize, like, is this sufficient? Can I live off of this for the next umpteenth years? Or am I setting myself up for failure by diving into it too quickly versus just taking a beat, dealing with both at the same time, making sure that your main hustle is there to then provide for your side hustle until it becomes your main. I think it's extremely important to realize you don't have to just jump in right away. Find the time, leverage your money. Time management is everything. And don't be surprised what you're actually capable of by just staying on course, and wait until you have enough money that you can actually go ahead and just be in it. And we have some wonderful examples of people that have done this and how to secure the bag. And as Wayne and I were talking about this, like, who are some people that we know of, their stories and everything like that, that have no problems with sharing kind of their rags to riches story. And one of them that I thought of was Sarah Blakely. And I would love to know if you guys are familiar with Sarah Blakely. If you are not familiar with Sarah Blakely, you might be familiar with her undergarments. Your wife, your girl, you might be familiar.
Somebody, you know somebody.
You know somebody that knows Sarah Blakely stuff, which is she is the person that created Spanx. And the reason why this is just so important is just that she let her main job completely fund her completely fund her side hustle. So she was shipping things out of her apartment.
Yep.
And the thing about it is that she landed on Oprah's favorite thing list when that was a thing. It was all of our moms and aunts.
Viral
Episode of Oprah is that her Spanx got on Oprah's favorite things, and that's what catapulted her whole entire career. So we're looking at it on favorite things, and I know that me and my mom were thinking like, oh shoot, we're missing out, this must be the in thing, while she's actually in her apartment and shipping out these orders. And like I said, she has no fear of sharing this story with the world. Almost every year I follow her. She's extremely inspirational, but almost every single year she shares the same picture to show like, yo, I was at home working for a printer company as I'm shipping out the orders. And now she's a billionaire. She's an empire.
Wait. She's a what? What is she? What would you say? Was that a
B with a B?
Okay, cool.
With a B. She's a billionaire now. Billionaire. And I think that is so important to realize. Even the people that we look up to, they've gone through this, you know, just dive right in. So I think, Kimberly, you say, yes, she always shares that pic. She really, really, really does. And I love, especially billionaire CEOs that have no fear of sharing where they came from. I love that. And then we have DR here. She says Myleik is also super transparent about her journey too. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that we know of very well that aren't afraid to share their story. So look at them as inspiration, that you can make it through. You can find it within yourself to be able to do both until you don't have to do both anymore. So I think that's really important to share.
Love it.
Now, going into truth bomb number 2, Wayne.
Ooh, man, this is gonna rock some people, man. Entrepreneurship it's not for everybody. And let me be clear about like what I'm talking about here. We are not talking about having streams isn't for everybody, because every single person on this earth needs to have multiple streams of income. Okay. But every single person on this earth does not need to be a business owner. Right?
Oh, well, why? Tell me that.
So we can go into the fast facts and it'll help me articulate some of this, right? So entrepreneurship or being a business owner is you're trading away security, you're trading away protocols and processes for your passion and your drive behind doing something, right? There's no one telling you to get up in the morning, right? There's no one telling you to be able to focus 100% on what you're doing over your shoulder, holding you accountable in case something happens, right? There's no one like telling you that if you don't fulfill this particular order, the customer is going to get mad. And if the customer gets mad, that's your job, right? It's all on you, right? And the people that you have surrounding you. So it is a very interesting position to be in for people who are coming from an arena where basically everything is kind of taken care of for you. You can focus on doing your job, being efficient and excellent at your job. And that's about it, right? You get better at your skill set, so someone else takes care of it. If your computer breaks, you take it to you hit up the IT guy and say, you know what? Hey, listen, my computer's not working. As an entrepreneur, you are the IT guy, right? You are the marketing person. You are the sales organization, the CEO, the COO. It's like there's no one else that you pass these things off to. A customer gets mad, you can't pass them to your customer service manager. There is no escalation. you got to get on the phone and have a conversation with them. How about
Right.
this one? This is one of my favorites, and favorites in quotation marks, sarcasm. When a customer decides they're not paying you this month,
Ooh.
right? They just say, you know what? I'm not paying. And if you don't get on the phone and now your collections for your own organization, you don't get paid. So not everybody.
It sounds really personal. Have you been in that position before where you didn't pay collections?
Yeah. So it's always like, and on this show, we're going to give you opinions, but we're going to give you our opinions based off of what we actually been through. Right. So when a client is getting a service and they've agreed to a service or they've agreed to a product, they have decided, hey, I'm going to pay you a fair amount of compensation and I'll receive a fair amount of service.
Right.
When a client says, hey, you know what? One client told me at one point, they're just not paying anymore. Right? Change their card in our system. We couldn't automatically charge them, but we have provided the service. We put the time in to pay for the service, and now we're not getting paid for it. And now we're spending our time trying to get that money from this particular client. And we're not talking about like $5, $500 here. We're talking thousands of dollars, right? So it becomes you find out real quick, am I made for this? Like, do I have the resilience necessary to be able to go out, have a conversation, do that whole legal action if I need to be able to do it? Because some people just don't have that wherewithal, and that's okay, because there's too much like dogging on people who aren't entrepreneurs on the internet. People are out here flogging on Al Gore's internet saying, everybody's an entrepreneur. That's not the truth, right?
Yeah, and we'll dive more later, but boy, that's a big, heavy topic for sure. I want to get into this comment real quick by Jewel. She said, the IRS will make it plain for you if you have an entrepreneurial business or a hobby.
Big facts.
We'll call you out. And then we have one that says, you and the Facebook marketplace are the IT department. That's really, really true. So next, I would love to go into our fast facts. So let's get into it.
Okay. So here's the thing about, like, again, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. If you do not like working on, or if you are not committed to working on weekends, entrepreneurship is not for you. If you refuse to work at night, entrepreneurship is not for you. Entrepreneurs, right? And this was a study done by Forbes, suffer from a high number of entrepreneurs suffer from depression, anxiety, loneliness. You are consistently solving problems, making decisions every single day. If anything doesn't get you, it's the fact that you have to make so many decisions, and these decisions don't get made for you. If you think about the way that our lives are set up, there are so many decisions that are made for us so that we can just exist and focus on our own thing. Like, we know what time to clock into work. That decision was made for us. Like, we didn't decide that. We know what we're doing when we get to work. We know what the speed limit is. We don't even have to decide how fast I need to go because the speed limit's already established. It's also established what happens when I go too fast and I have to suffer the consequences. I also don't have to figure out what I need to do when I get to this light, red, yellow, or green. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So a lot of the decisions in our life are taken from us. So when we come into entrepreneurship, it can be a culture shock. It can be like oh my gosh, whoa, what am I actually seeing here, right? And unfortunately, that can lead to loneliness, anxiety, like depression, when you make the wrong decision. Like, you ever made the wrong decision? Like, dang, I shouldn't have done that. And but when it's you and your business and that decision cost you $10,000, that decision cost you $1,000, that decision cost you $1, right? Like, whatever those are, like, it costs, right? There is a cost to entrepreneurship, right? In the world of business, there's a phrase called opportunity cost. And opportunity cost is simply what you give up to be able to achieve something. Right. So if I decide that I'm going to go and watch Netflix all day, the opportunity cost is I lost the opportunity to build my business, right? Because only thing I'm doing is watching Netflix. Right. So the entire gambit of entrepreneurship and the allure that it has, it needs to be put in perspective. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shy any way away from it. If this is what you're trying to do, you just need to know what you're getting into before you start it. Right. I like to use this or express this as you have to count the cost of entrepreneurship. Like we saw. Say again.
What's that mean?
So,
are you talking about money? Are you kind of talking about time? Please make it plain.
Money, time. A lot of times you lose friends, right? If you are trying to build your business and your friends are trying to go out, but you got to be working on your business, they're going to go on and do other things without you. And that's okay, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to find yourself as the result of your circle, right? Your result of the people that you're closest with or the people who are in your community, so to speak. So if you don't get around other entrepreneurs, right, you're not going to make them entrepreneurial, right? It's like a dirty hand and a clean hand. Right. So if I have a clean hand over here and I mix it with the dirty one, does the dirty hand become clean? It doesn't. Right. You need 2 full clean hands to clean your dirty one. Right. So it's like we as an entrepreneur, we're a minority across the board. Right. There are almost 300 million Americans and there are 30 million business owners. Right. So think about that. 300, that's 10% of Americans are business owners. 10%. That means 1 out of every 10 people that you see. And with COVID, you're probably not seeing people as much, but 1 out of every 10 people that you see is an entrepreneur. That's not a great rate, right? And you got to recognize that because not everyone's called to be able to do it. But when you decide to do it, you have got to make a decision. And no matter what, like I'm going to be committed to the long haul. I'm going to get around the right people. I'm going to do the right things. I'm going to put in the nights. I'm going to put in the weekends. For whatever reason, whatever you're doing, I'm going to make sure that I'm committed to the long haul of this process.
I have a couple of questions here. Yeah, let's get into that one. How long should an entrepreneur measure growth? Should it be just about the current, or I'm assuming it says, should it be just about the current revenue or revenue potential?
That's a great question. There are so many ways to measure growth, but the number one way that I measure it is somebody willing to pay for your idea, right? You can find that out without a website. You can find that out without a whole lot of marketing. You can find that out strictly like, okay, hey, I got this idea. I want to solve this problem. Would you pay for this? Right. And if you ask enough people that and enough people are like, yeah, I would pay for this, and they give you money for it, your idea is validated, right? You can start to scale in revenue in that way. Revenue potential is unfortunately not, it is a good measure, but it's not the best measure because in an industry, you can look at an industry and say, man, this industry is going crazy. It's like $15 billion, right? Like consistently across the board that people are just making money in here. But if you're in that industry and you're trying to make $15 billion and you've got a mentor, you got someone helping you and you're just not making money, that should tell you, hey, there needs to be a pivot here, right? Being able to at least get over that initial hump of having someone pay you for your idea is all the validation that you're going to need.
Love that. And then we have another one right here saying, how many side hustles should an entrepreneur have at the same time and still be effective?
All right. There's a really great book. It's called The One Thing.
Okay.
Right? The one of the most challenging things to your idea, your business, is the next idea and the next business. All right.
Say that again, please.
So one of the most challenging, I actually took this from my pastor. One of the biggest challenges to your idea is the next idea or the next business. Right. Okay. So if you, as you're starting to build your side hustle, and you're doing your main hustle and you're focusing that night on the one thing, inevitably, if you're creative, if you're working hard, it's like, oh man, this thing over here is pretty cool. Let me try this thing too. But you're incomplete on this thing, right? On your initial thing. And now you're working with 2 incomplete projects. And now you decide, oh, which one should I go? Count the cost, discover the revenue potential, discover if someone's going to pay you for it, decide this one thing is what I'm going to focus on, because inevitably you will have, and I've done this myself. I've literally started 3 or 4 businesses at a time. Let me tell you, they didn't make money or they didn't make enough money. Once I finally decided to really focus on this one particular area is when things started to scale. And you will see that time and time again. Focus on the one thing.
Got it. And then we have quite a few questions about this particular topic. This one from Jewel says, would you request full payment before releasing products or services? And then she says, I place watermarks on all prototypes until full payment is made.
That's a definite. Depending on your service, that can definitely work. Another thing that works is contracts, right? When people sign, they typically have the intent to pay you, and you can provide the service up front for them, just depending on what type of business model that you have. Another way to be able to prevent, people from getting off without paying you is giving them the service in portions so that they are responsible for paying and continuing the particular service. So the goal overall is to put parameters in place, depending on what business model that you have, to prevent that. But let me help you out. No amount of success that you'll ever have is going to get you away from people who are like, you gave me this service and I'm not paying. All right. That is an inevitability, and you will have to pay collections on that. And it's, again, one of the things that you got to commit to.
Love it. And then the last one before we kind of move on to the next one, we have from Manan. How do you get around other entrepreneurs?
Oh, man, that's a great question. In this digital landscape, you use the tools that are afforded to you. You use YouTube, right? You use Facebook to find communities of other entrepreneurs. You use Twitter to look at Twitter chats. There are, there's LLC Twitter, and there's like money Twitter, and then there's like real estate Twitter, and there's like tech Twitter. There's no code Twitter, right? There are all these different communities that you can come in and just be part of the conversation. Now there's the brand new app that everyone's so hype about, Clubhouse, right?
Right.
I just had a close friend of mine tell me that he was on Clubhouse the other day and got a deal through Clubhouse the first time, like one of the first times he was on it, right? So get in the room with other like-minded people. If you're thinking about like any particular industry, it's a LinkedIn search or a Google search or a Facebook search or a Twitter search, a way to find people who are in that community and they are active and they want to help other people who are getting in.
And YouTube University is a very real thing.
Oh, hashtag YouTube University.
I've been YouTube University for about 6 years now. I keep taking courses, but it is a very, very real thing. So, Manan, that was an absolutely great question. Brittany, I love Clubhouse too. I just got invited last week. I feel like I'm special. I don't know. I've been checking it out, and I've been listening in on a few conversations in Clubhouse. I'm really learning some things there, and then hearing certain conversations of people saying, I've only been here for a couple of weeks. I landed my third gig, just putting myself out there, being in the right room, literally. So definitely that one, use that to your advantage. There's just so many tools, courses out there. Please just research or ask somebody too. You'll be surprised. You're only 1 degree away sometimes.
That's it.
Next door opening and your next blessing. So definitely for sure. Don't be afraid.
Another thing that entrepreneurs have to commit to doing is breaking outside of your comfort zone, right? So there's going to be there is something in business that you're going to have to do that you hate, because that is the point. That is one of the things that comes with being a business owner. Yes, you get you get the freedom. Yes, you get the things that you like to do, and you get to work on your passion, but that's not the only things that you get to do, right? Yeah. There's going to have to be some things that you are doing that you don't want to do so you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs can be timid. That's why the loneliness and depressions happen. Be like, oh, we're the only person dealing with this. But get in those communities, ask questions. Don't be afraid to make what can be perceived as a fool of yourself. Honestly, you're not making a fool of yourself. You're literally asking the right questions. Right. And the fact that you're asking questions shows that you're willing to get feedback and be flexible to be able to get the help that you need.
Right. So let's take a look into what the day in the life of an entrepreneur looks like.
Again,
you do this graphic, Wayne, so I want you to kind of take us through this journey.
This is like one of the most, when I first initially saw this graphic, I was like, how do they understand? Like, they really, really get it. The truth is here, like, you're starting off, you're super excited, and then something happens. Inevitably, something happens, and like, this is hard. And now this may not look like a day for you. This may happen over a week. This may happen over a month. But this particular graph is accurate. It could happen over a year. It's going to be like this at some point. You're going to experience something. You're going to figure it out and try to problem solve. And then you're going to like, oh, this is really working. Then you're going to mess something up because inevitably you aren't perfect, right? Then you decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to give up the good for the great. I'm going to decide I want to do more. And then you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I've put so much money and time and effort into this. What in the world am I doing? Then you're going to start to see the momentum again. And like, this is it. This is it. Then you're going to think, you know what? This is completely wrong. I'm done. Forget it. I was wrong. I suck. I'm terrible. And then you get to that inevitable point where a client is like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Or someone got your product and they're publicizing you on Instagram, or, people are just saying, I'm so admired by you and your journey and what you have been doing. And you're like, wow, this is all worth it. It's a roller coaster. And it's not like life itself and working for someone doesn't have its own intrinsic roller coasters. But at the truth bomb that we said, it's not for everyone. You need to look at this and ask yourself, is it something that I want? And if it's not, that's okay. Like, everyone doesn't have a business, right? Everyone needs streams, but everyone doesn't have a business. So your job is to decide, is this something I want and can commit to? Is the goal of what I'm looking to pursue strong enough to keep me from those down moments, like when I'm feeling hitting those valleys?
Right. And something that we talked about offline was that shortcuts are okay, but skipping steps is not.
Okay. Yes. So what I mean by a shortcut is that I said this last week on our initial show. Learning experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't have to be yours. Right? I can learn from someone who got hit by a car that I shouldn't run out into the middle of the road. Right? So someone else who has been through the business, who's learned, who's gone through all of the bumps and bruises that I will potentially experience or encounter, I can learn from what they've done to be able to set myself up for success. So I consider that to be a shortcut. If someone went and there was traffic and we were driving somewhere and they hit traffic, they can call me and say, hey, Wayne, don't go on I-4. There's traffic on I-4. Take an alternate route. All right. So I can take a shortcut essentially. But that does not absolve me from the responsibility of going on the journey itself. I still got to get from point A to point B. I can't decide I'm just going to get to point B. And a lot of millennials and whatever they call the generation after us,
generation
Gen Z. Okay,
I don't know why.
Not as cool. Whatever.
We'll take it.
But a lot of us and a lot of them are really into like, I don't want to do all that. I don't have to do all that. All I got to do is to create my business is tell people I'm the greatest in the world and publicize it on social. That's it. And I'm done. Right. Where there's this component that's missed a lot of times. And this happens a lot in businesses as a whole. But what we're really talking about here is we focus on Black and brown businesses, and the customer service aspect of a business is almost as important as any type of sales aspect of your business. We have to over deliver in that area. You think about the great customer experiences that you have. You want to go to that store or that service time and time again. The number one example that always comes to mind, which one would you rather go to? See, I know that you're over there in Spain. They may not have it, but when you're over here, would you rather go to a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A?
When I'm over here?
When you're over here.
Oh, Chick-fil-A.
Exactly. Why?
Because it's the Lord's chicken.
Man, Chick-fil-A has not only amazing food, but the service is just like top notch, right? You go through a line that's like 50 people out there and you out in 10 minutes and you get a smile and they're apologizing for the wait. I'm like, I just got here. But the service is so critical, right? It's so important to that element. So as we're focusing on building these businesses and really taking into account all that we need to do, like over delivery is like super important, and you can't over deliver by skipping steps. It just can't happen.
I love it. And so with that, let's go into our takeaway, our 2020 takeaway.
All right. There is no such thing as get rich quick. Okay. No such thing as get rich quick. Anyone coming to tell you in any type of business, hey, you can do this really, really quickly. You'll make $1 million in 6 months. While theoretically possible, Most businesses aren't built that way. So you got to decide to make the commitment up front that you're in it for the long haul. So what we talked about before, you got to count the cost. Is this worth it? And then once you decide it's worth it, being consistent is going to be the key to get to your success.
Love it. And then we talked about, okay, so how do we talk with our audience about like a prime example of how to secure the bag? And I actually thought of Damon John.
My dude, Shark.
With just like with Spanx, I don't know why we're on a clothing kick now. I'm realizing
right?
Spanx, the ladies know Spanx, and the guys, the fellas know FUBU. And he has a remarkable story. The thing that I love about Damon John is that he kept his job the entire time for 4 years, the first 4 years of FUBU. You got to think, FUBU was on all your favorite hip hop artists.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. And this man still worked his main job. I'm trying to think right now, what was his main job again?
I do worked as a server at Red Lobster.
There you go. He was a server at Red Lobster while we're seeing his clothing line on every Hype Williams video, the music video there is with Jay-Z and all of our favorites wearing his gear. He gave us Coogee as well. And it's just like, what?
For sure.
And his story, and you're just like, he worked the entire time at Red Lobster. So I could be wearing his clothing and he's serving me next second at a Red Lobster. That's wild to me, and I absolutely love it. He's another person that isn't afraid to share his story about where he came from, and he has the utmost pride in where he came from.
Yeah,
utmost pride in him
for sure. And he'll even tell you over that time. He did it in his book, either The Power Broker or the other one, that he almost closed the business 4 times, or he did close the business like 3 times because he ran out of money. Right. So from 89 to like 92, over that time he was working at Red Lobster, he shut down his business because he was out of money. But he was committed to the long haul. He was committed to saying, you know what, I'm taking this thing the distance. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. Like, you know, starting in your mom's house, doing whatever you have to do, living with your mom, being able to sacrifice these short-term things for the long-term gain, working at Red Lobster. So he did both as well. And then ultimately, here he is, like, you know, multi-billionaire. And now he just invests his money into other companies that make him money. So right. Dope. Love Damon John.
We have a spicy comment right here, and I would love to know your opinion on this. It says, I don't like the side hustle, as it implies it's somehow not as important or real or worthy of full devotion or attention. All hustles need to be aligned to purpose! ! What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't use the term hustle too much because it implies working and not necessarily getting a whole lot. I just use it because it's super culturally relevant, right? So whether you're calling it a side hustle, whether you're calling it a side gig, whether you're calling it my side business, whether you call it something I'm not doing full time, whatever nomenclature you are utilizing, make that yours and make that your own. And you can have as much focus as you need to on it. What we're trying to convey is the importance of not jumping the gun too early to jump into that type of business. And if you want yours to be aligned to purpose, you can do that. Some people's purpose is to be able to generate wealth for their families. And it doesn't necessarily have a business that, you know, really ties into who they are as a human being. And while most people will tell you if you are purposeful in what you do, you'll never work a day in your life or something to that effect. It's just not true. We know a lot of people that have passed away. They worked really, really hard their whole life and they did not earn a lot of money from it. And I think that there is a place where both exist, where you're working on something purposeful and you can also generate the type of money that you want to for whatever reason that you want to. If you want to give a lot, great. If you want to earn so that you can, you know, live a luxury lifestyle, you're entitled to that as well. But the truth is that the success of the business ultimately comes behind the drive of the person who's in that particular driver's seat. Is that entrepreneur willing to do whatever? Now, I will say this. If your number one and almost only goal is money, you're going to have a challenge because there's going to be some times when you're not making money, right? It's going to feel like times where, and honestly, there's got to be a larger commitment there so that you are able to get past the times in which you're not hitting that particular goal.
Love it. And then we have another comment that says, you got to check your pride at the door to really leverage your main hustle while you build your side hustle. That goes in kind of like our first truth bomb a bit in what we touched on already, but that is very, 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 very true. And then Arkman, he mentioned that's good, a place where they both exist. And I feel that Carlton was satisfied with your response. Excellent response. Great show. Thank you. That was a great response.
Thank you, Carlton.
So let's get into our final truth bomb.
Drum roll.
And then I have to be the one that switches the screen.
There you
go. Truth bomb number 3. This is my favorite.
Man. Oh, man. Instagram success or social media success. It is not reality.
Say it again. Say it again.
Instagram success, social media success, all the viral, look at me, is not reality. I feel like that can stand on its own and we could just like have a moment of silence.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing, right? We live in this world and it is crafted so heavily by what social media tells us it should be, right? And unfortunately, what most people haven't grasped on, or maybe they grasped onto the concept and they're not willing to commit wholeheartedly to it, is that social media is a highlight reel, right?
I love that.
So
it is a highlight reel.
It is a highlight reel. So I love sports, and when I miss a game and I look at my team playing later on, I see the highlight reel of all the stuff that they've done. And in most cases, the highlight reel, it's amazing. It's like, oh, my team did so great. But if you go back, right, you go back and you look at what they call watching the film.
Right.
The coach looks at the film afterwards and like, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. Right. But at night, we saw all of the highlights. You know what I mean? That's what everyone else got to see.
Right.
But no one really gets to see the film of somebody else's life, like the day-to-day of someone else's life. And unfortunately, that paints a picture that this person is doing X, Y, and Z, when in some cases they can be, and it can be true. But in most cases, they're not telling the whole truth at all.
Oh, we got a bar in here. Highlight reel, not necessarily real.
They cruise with the.
I see what you did there, Jay. Cruise. See what you did. That is extremely. That's a real statement. It's just. When you said highlight reel the other day, it really hit me because I'm like, that's exactly what it is. Even with my life, even in our regular lives, with what we do. Even if a person's not an entrepreneur, you just want to show the best parts of everything. A lot of people don't show the back end behind their successes. So it's just like on social media, especially when it comes to like Instagram, they're showing their partnerships, they're showing their things, they're doing their unpacking, their unboxing rather, they're showing, oh, I just made $1 million this last month. Look it up. Boo, boo, boo. Like we know all about this because we also work with social media. So it is not a diss to anybody or whatever with what you show on social media. But what we're saying is that it can be extremely misleading for a person, your regular person that's like, oh, can I just hop and be an author today? Can I be an influencer today? Can I be a business owner today? Can I just start? Like, sure. But the thing about it is that a lot of people aren't doing the necessary research behind. They don't know the stories that really got them there. They don't know necessarily the journey based off of the feed. And there was something that I heard a few years ago that really stuck with me that said like my chapter 10 or don't compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 10. You know, I've been looking for somebody actually mentioned My League earlier. And I've been a fan of like her entrepreneurial journey for the past like 5 years. And she drops bombs all the time, especially on her podcast. So free shout out to that. The thing about it is, it's like, just because you see me in my houses and all this other stuff, like I was struggling. I was in debt. I didn't know what to do. I have to go to therapy for I don't know how many times a week just to be able to deal. But at the same time, I was growing a business and I stayed consistent. And now you see me as you see me today. And so that's another reason. Yeah, for sure. You got to share some of those transparent moments. And I feel like so many people, unfortunately, do not share those transparent moments. And I actually think the more successful a person is, the more transparent they are. So if they're showing their transparent moment, then something may be a little off.
And so we can jump into the facts, and this is truly why, right? Like, the allure that people have isn't the reality, and we want to make sure that people understand the reality of entrepreneurship. And again, not to discourage anyone. What we want to do is educate so that everyone's in it for the long term, right? We want everyone to be like, doing this for as long as it takes. So only 57% of small business owners take vacations. Mm-hmm. All right. Think about that. All of the Instagram photos that you see, I'm out here, in Dubai, I'm out here in Italy, I'm out here. That's like, what, 6 out of 10 of them? So 4 out of 10 aren't taking vacations at all. Right. Then we go beyond that. 50% of businesses don't last beyond 5 years. Right. If you're doing your business, or you're starting your business not to be in it for past 5 years, don't start. Right? There's just no purpose, right? It's hard enough as it is. You got to want to at least desire to be in it for the long haul. Not everybody's going to make it. We understand that, but you will learn, you will gain experience, and you'll get better. Right. Another one, average age of an entrepreneur is 45 years old. Average.
So that fact is relevant.
Okay.
We're in our 30s. We're young.
Super young. Come on. 26 in the house.
So why something like the average age of an entrepreneur 45? Why is that a big fact here?
Right. So their social will often paint the picture of what something is, right? And what it should be. So if you don't look 20, right? You don't look 25, 30. I just got out of college and now I'm driving a Maserati, right? It can paint the picture that it's too late for me. Right? I can't do these things anymore. I can't have that life. Look at that person. They're single, or they just got married. They don't have any kids, and now they're living their life. I'm over here. We got 4 kids together with my husband, and I still want to start my business, but I can't do it anymore because I just don't want to do it. I don't have the time to do it. All right. The goal here is that sharing that fact, 45 is the average age. Even if you are above 45, if you start one at 55, that just means you are above average, right? And that's okay. Like, what, you can start a business whenever you desire to. We looked up a stat earlier. The average millionaire is 62 years old. Right. So for all these people showing you all of the stuff that they're doing, and the cars and the lifestyle, the private jets, which is a lie, by the way. Take their rental companies now, just in case y'all didn't know. There are rental companies that will allow you to go on the tarmac, take a picture for Instagram, and they just charge you basically for the hour or for the session. So I can pretend like I get on a private jet and just take a photo and then get off. If that doesn't show us where the mindset, and there are companies who are making millions of dollars doing this, right? That doesn't show you where the mindset is towards entrepreneurship and where social is, then nothing will. And then the older you are, right? Statistics have shown that you're going to be more successful because you've got more experience, right? Again, not taking anything away from someone who is younger than the age of 50, younger than the age of 45. We fully believe that you can get the support that you need. You can go out and have a successful business. I know people who are under 35 who have amazing businesses, $1 million businesses in a lot of cases. So it can still be done. But let's just keep it real. It's the stuff that we're seeing most of the time is from people who are under the age of 40 posting about the life that they're living. And a lot of cases, it's a lie, right? It's just not the truth.
Beatty said, damn, I can't wait till 62.
Facts, right? Like, 62 is the average age of a millionaire. Again, average. So all of the people that you're reading about that you may be seeing,
anything else stays the course.
that's it.
You'll be there.
Keep it going. Like, who told you that this was a truth or this was a fact? Social told us. And when you kind of go look that up, the lie detector determined that's a lie.
Right. And you have this last fact here. You said a 50-year-old founder is 1.8 times more likely to achieve upper tail growth than a 30-year-old founder. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah. So this was a study that was done by Forbes, I believe, or they borrowed it from someone. And they just did the study over like maybe 100 companies, and the ages ranged from like 30 something to up to 50 something. The companies that were led by 40 and 50-year-olds outperformed the ones that were led by 30-year-olds, right? Mm-hmm. In a lot of cases, it's about the experience that you gain, that you learn. Like I talked to you about before, I don't have to learn from my own experience. I can learn from someone else's. But sometimes I have my own experience to learn from. I know that you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And I have that benefit where a lot of people who may be younger than me don't necessarily have that benefit. If you have any younger brothers or sisters, you know that, or younger cousins, you know that firsthand. You can tell them, hey, don't take out that loan or don't take out that credit card when you go in your student union on campus the very first time. Don't do it because it's going to charge you high interest. And you're going to have that credit card for the rest of your life. And what do? They go and get that credit card no matter what, because they want to live up the life in college. So it happens consistently. Again, no shade to anybody who is under the age of 35 starting and killing businesses. It is definitely possible. But the truth is that a lot of people who are, there's like a complete genre of people who are online faking like they have these particular lifestyles. There's actually an Instagram account dedicated to calling a lot of these fake business owners out, because they're trying to let people know that they are leading these lifestyles, that they're coaching businesses and they're doing all these things, and it's not true. And unfortunately, it's shaping a lot of entrepreneur beliefs. And
with that point, that leads me into one of my favorite examples of this. And I actually saw it in a comment, which is Bow Wow. This was my favorite. I remember the internet blew up when Bow Wow posted this picture. And if you cannot read the comment, his caption says, travel day, NYC press run for growing up hip hop. Let's go. I promise to bring y'all the hottest show ever, May 25th, yada, yada, yada. But then over here, you have a person that took a picture of him the same day on what seems like Economy or Coach. And first. So this guy, Lil Bow Wow, is on my flight to New York, but on Instagram, he posted a picture of a private jet captioned traveling to NY today. Shake my head. I died when I saw that. And the fact that he actually admitted it. So I love the fact that he ended up owning it a bit, kind of in his little weird Bow Wow way, which was like, haha, just shot, but whatever. But that was a picture off of Google. Right. So it wasn't even his own friend's jet. It was, we don't even know whose jet it was. It was kind of strange, I think, to all of us, that even a celebrity, somebody that we completely grew up with, I think me and him are the same exact age. We grew up with this man. You're you don't have to, or at least in my head, you don't have to do that, bro. Like, you don't, there's no reason why you need to flex when we already are kind of thinking you got it. So it's just like, it was like that extra bit, but it really does prove that so many people, it doesn't matter what your status is, they feel like they need to, I don't know, I guess show more than what they even are. They have to have a facade and uphold some expectation that really isn't necessary. And this cracks me up. So let me know your thoughts on that.
So my biggest thing here was Bow Wow pretending that, I mean, like you said, he already had the status, right? How many people saw this initial picture and was like, dang, I'm not on a private jet, right? Like, it's almost like the FCC came out a couple years ago after Fire Festival and told people that they had a social responsibility to let people know when they are having ads versus actually promoting something because they like it, right? So because of how much influence is on these particular people, like, these people have influence, hashtag influencers, right? So you're on there influencing people, saying like, oh, this is what I'm doing, I'm getting on a private jet, right? but you're literally next to someone on a flight, like baking. And it's like, this is just one example of what is rampant, right? On social and on media accounts. It's crazy the amount of entrepreneurs who are saying this is how I start, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm flashy, right? I like to show off, right? But what people are always gonna get, it's Miami. It is what it is, right? What people are always gonna get from me is like, I'm gonna be real deal Holyfield, right? I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I might have a 6-figure business, but yeah, it took me about 14 businesses to be able to get to that 6-figure business. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't quick. I didn't just do one thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Did I have dreams of doing that to get like to a 50K business a month in like 3 months? Absolutely. 100%. Did it happen? Nope. So, and a lot of the reasons why people don't want to kind of keep it real is because accountability, right? Bow Wow is weird enough, and he still left that picture up, which was kind of weird. I'm like, dude, this is still on your Instagram, bro. It's like,
dude, he just doesn't care, and he's still down. Oh my God, sorry, but my favorite one is when he was walking down the street, I think in New York, and he was acting like, oh my God, they're chasing me. And it was a bunch of kids that didn't even know it was Bow Wow. Oh, man. It is on brand for Bow Wow. I'm just going to say.
It is.
Thing, so he don't need to delete it. That's his brand. And I think he's leaning into that. Let's get into a couple of the comments right now before we get into our takeaway. Authenticity is currency. Authenticity is influence.
Facts. Big facts. Love that.
Very true. We have, wow, on social media, we can portray any fantasy, take pictures outside of the mansion or sports cars or another. Truth always comes out. It really does. It really does always come to light for sure. And then we also have a comment here saying hip hop, entertainment, etc., have done such a disservice in shaping people's expectations of themselves and success. I hear that, and I do think that's a culture thing. But like seriously, social media took it next level, and it's not even. I mean, it's just all across the board, all across the board for sure, wow. for sure. So let's hop into the takeaways right here.
All right, so our parents' generation, grandparents' generation, they called it keeping up with the Joneses. So this concept isn't anything that's new, right? Success comes from a lot of things, right? Like including having the right environment, choosing to be uncomfortable, committing to pursue no matter how long it takes. Like this thought process of like looking at social media to determine whether or not I'm going to continue or that's what you're trying to achieve. It shouldn't, that shouldn't be your model of success. And what we like to kind of highlight here is how to secure the bag. Anybody ever heard of Colonel Sanders? Now we're not talking about Mario Lopez, Colonel Sanders rendition for Lifetime. We're talking about Harlan Sanders, the one who actually created Kentucky Fried Chicken, got his first franchise at like 52, right? 52, and we're still eating that chicken today. The guy who made McDonald's, he didn't create McDonald's. He made it what it is today. His name is Ray Kroc. Some people call him Ray Crook because he actually stole the idea from McDonald's. But the first McDonald's was created, or the first franchise for McDonald's happened at, he was like 53 or 54 or something like that. There is not, like, there's too many examples of people, and we showed you kind of the stats for it, people having success well beyond their 30s, well beyond their 40s. That doesn't mean we can't have it before, but that just means we need to have the correct perception of what this process is, how long the process is going to take, and ultimately what we're going to get out of that process in the end.
Yeah, I love that. I remember when you said Colonel Sanders, I was like, where are we going with this one? I would love to know you guys' thoughts about that for sure. Do you guys ever find yourself trying to keep up with the Joneses? I know that I feel like we have to be lying if we say that we haven't fallen into it just a little bit.
To a certain extent, correct, yes.
Certain extent, you know what I mean?
We don't really want, like, they have it,
Yeah, I know it's a very, very real thing. But the main takeaway from this to me is just like, you have to stay definitely consistent. You have to trust your own heart with this. You know what I mean? Look at your own people, your own surroundings, people within your network, people, your own community and what they're doing. I think old school is the best way to go. And just don't focus as much. Use Instagram and use social media as a tool for sure. but don't use that as a goal. And I remember when I used to see hashtag goals everywhere. And I think, like, I hope that just goes away, because what happened with hashtag goals is that you had to like keep up with that. Why is that a goal? It's like, it's just, I don't know. It used to put a bad like little taste in my mouth when it came to that whole hashtag goals. It was a very, very, very real thing. And everybody was trying to do certain things that sometimes you just don't need to do it. Like, you're just cool. And then what ended up happening is that the person that stopped filtering their pictures, all of a sudden they became the cool ones again because they went back. So it's like, just stay you. Please stay you. And then that kind of takes us to our unpopular opinion. I thought it's kind of cool to share this with you guys today. Your unpopular opinion, you shouted this out from the rooftops when you said this in our meeting. You said there is no such thing as being self-made. But Wayne, Forbes has a self-made list. So Forbes is pretty legit. No, what do you mean there's no such thing as self-made?
Yeah, I think 100% that the concept of self-made is a slap in the face to anyone who's ever contributed anything to that person's life, not their business, right? Not their goals, their life, right? Like, if your mom raised you and you became a millionaire, you're not self-made.
Okay.
Right? If you were failing in school at one point, a lot of times entrepreneurs, their story is like they were failing at some point, you know, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You were not self-made because there was someone who was trying to educate you to get you better, right? That experience from that person or those persons taught you something that you did not have before. There is, like, even when you become a millionaire, billionaire, whoever, you have people who are working for you, with you, whether it's a finance people, marketing people, whatever. You did not do it by yourself. That is just like, it is so self-absorbed, like to say I am self-made. If you are, and especially if you were born into a family that was able to contribute to either your brand, your name around your brand, and or giving you money to be able to do something. Now, mind you, if you turn that money into something great, you are a fantastic business person. I'm not taking that away. Bezos took like $200,000 and turned it into cajillions. I don't even know if they're creating words for Bezos right now. All right. And you know, Kylie Jenner, she went in there and, you know, she became a self-made billionaire, but she was a Jenner and she's a Kardashian. So guess what? You aren't self-made. Now, you're a fantastic business person, a great marketer, but you're not self-made. Yeah. Right. So I just think that, again, an unpopular opinion here, truth bomb, somebody at some point did something for you, and therefore, by definition, you cannot say that you're self-made.
I agree. All I'm gonna say with it, all I'm gonna say there is that I definitely agree. Especially, I do like the fact that with the Kylie Jenner thing, and like Wayne mentioned, it's like you can't take away the fact that she took something and then made it into $1 billion business. I don't care. That is not any type of small feat whatsoever. That is a huge accomplishment. And she did a lot without even putting any marketing dollars behind it, just because of her own influence.
Yep.
Her name itself on Snapchat. She did some swatches on her arm of some lip paint and some lip gloss and stuff like that. She didn't spend any marketing dollars for her first launch, and it sold out completely. She was millions and millions of dollars racked up because of the influence that is attached to the brand of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians show. She was not at Kim Kardashian's level. She was not at any of their other levels. And then she just skyrocketed due to social media. So that is a really huge thing that we have to look at when we do see terms like self-made. It is a very strong term. And I remember that it was highly criticized at that time. And I feel like it had every right to kind of be. But I'm glad it opened up that conversation for sure. But I would love to know, or we would love to know rather, open up the conversation to you guys for some questions here, and just kind of have you guys thinking. Because like we said, we want you guys to take away some key things in order to apply it to your business, and make you guys very, very successful. That is the purpose of Secure the Bag. So our first question to you guys is, what is one thing that you will start in 2021 that you didn't do in 2020? Wayne, I'll start with you as our audience kind of thinks about that.
Yeah. So, and this is just to really kind of, as we are like wrapping up this episode, we want you guys to start focusing on 2021 and what's going to happen. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, right, there's got to be three things that is an exercise that's helped me my entire career. Other business owners I know it's helped them as well. It's called start, stop, continue. Right. And the first one is determining, hey, what am I going to start in 2021 that I didn't do in 2020? Because a lot of cases, what you did right now is not what you're going to want to replicate next year. Even if you hit every single one of your goals this year and you want to move on to something different next year, like you're going to have to start to do something that you didn't do this year. So what's one of the things that you're going to start in 2021 that you didn't do in 2020? So for me, one of my 2021 goals is really getting more organized with time and optimizing my time a little bit better. I'm pretty good with project management. I also take on a lot of responsibilities. So I really want to focus in on increasing the productivity that I have. Like if I'm able to be 100% productive, I want to be able to increase that to 125, 150% in 2021.
Nice. We have Brittany here that says she's going to start a podcast.
Dope.
Drop some. Do you have a link? Drop the link? Like do whatever. We want to support you, girl. So definitely that's really dope, and I wish you well with that endeavor for sure. That sounds really, really cool. From the looks of your picture, you seem like you're a bubbly personality. So we are excited to hear all about that for sure. We got Bree Thompson. She's going to work on some products and a book. So we got an author in that is incredible. Wait,
that's
you
my
might
wife, y'all.
Right.
Just want to let y'all know.
That's your wife. Say it proud. Say it loud. She has products and books. That means that you have products and books coming. So
facts, streams.
Love to hear more about that. We have having a shutdown time for business for sure. We also have daily visualizing. I think that is extremely important so that you can remain focused on your goals and then just attack them. So these are all super good. I love reading these. And moving on to the next question is, what is one thing that you will stop? Now, this is important, that you will stop doing in 2021 that you weren't supposed to do in 2020. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that question on what do you mean by what you weren't supposed to do in 2020?
Yeah. So in most cases, we know the challenges or the obstacles that kind of face us, and we know either after we've done it or while we're doing it. I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. So if you got a goal to lose weight, as you're sitting there eating fried chicken and ice cream on the couch, you're like, I should not be doing this, right? Just I should not be doing this. But where it starts is like identifying that thing instead of like just thinking it in your mind. I shouldn't be doing it. Writing it down, saying it aloud. I'm going to stop this particular thing as I move into 2021 as it pertains to business and life.
Right. I love this one right here saying she's going to stop doubting herself, be consistent, and just keep going. I love that. And then we're going to trust myself more. I think that is extremely important. I love these affirmation, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. In 2021, I will stop pricing too low.
That's it, Art. That's it.
Real. That is very, 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 very real. Especially in our community, I feel like we do that so often. We sell ourselves short. That's a whole nother show for another time. But yeah, price yourself what you're worth. We need to start knowing our worth, knowing our value, knowing what we give to the people, and charging for it. And then also what we need to do is stop asking for handouts on business.
Here we go. Say it again.
Stop asking for handouts from your friends' business. Support your friends in any way you can, even if all you can do is literally just repost their product online or whatever. But don't ask for their product for free. Pay for it.
I'm going to go a step further. Don't repost, invest. Reposting is good, but investing in what you want someone else to believe in, someone will invest in you. So like do exactly what you want others to do for you.
For sure. And then that takes us to our final question, which is, what's one thing you will continue to do in 2021 that you did well in 2020?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to start with myself. I did not give up in 2020. I give up on any of my goals. This has been a rocky year, y'all, for everybody. I don't know how 2020 has been for you. I am extremely blessed, so I'm very, very happy. But at the same time, I had to pivot all over the place this year. But I'm still on my 2 feet. My children are good. My family's good. We all eating, and clearly we have a job, so that's great. Yeah, I'm not going to, or I'm going to continue just remaining focused and just believing in myself and keep my things going. What about you? What are you going to continue to do in 2021?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to keep my foot on the gas, so to speak. We had a lot of success in 2020, despite the pandemic. And there were a lot of projects that I was able to work on, and I get to work on, like here at Apps Without Code. And we have some aggressive goals for 2021 and beyond. And I'm super excited to have all of those goals to come to fruition, to help more Black and brown entrepreneurs become successful, hit 6 figures, and eventually, make more Black millionaires. So we want to, that's one of the commitments that we have here. And I'm looking forward to continuing that. Gosh, that was looking forward to continuing making more Black millionaires in 2020.
And then we have Brittany here. She's going to continue to educate and invest in herself in her industry. We love to see it for sure. I love this one. Continue to clap for others as they accomplish their goals. Absolutely love that, for sure. Supporting, uplifting, doing whatever we can. There's so many people that have let this year kind of knock them down. But whenever you see any bit, please continue to uplift others and encourage others. I would continue to sell my knowledge. Okay, sell my knowledge in 2021 to help other entrepreneurs. I will continue improving my health. Yes, we need you here. Everybody needs to be safe and remain healthy. And I absolutely love that. So this has been an incredible conversation. Amazing. That can we go over just one more time what our 3 truth bombs were, Wayne?
Okay, so first up, you can do both. You can do a side hustle and a main hustle. You don't have to choose one. Second one is entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. So make sure you decide if it's for you and you commit to the long haul. And then the third one is Instagram success isn't reality, right? So as you are planning out your goals, as you're deciding what you're going to be doing for your business now and beyond, really commit to do it for whatever your goals and your passions are and not what social media dictates to you.
I love it. And guys, we will be back next week. This will be such a fun conversation. Please join us. We will keep you guys updated on just everything, all the shows coming. But for the next 2 weeks, we will be here. I believe it's going to be next Wednesday. We'll keep you posted with the time. Again, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And feel free to follow us on our socials. And you'll see it here on Apps Without Code. And we will see you guys next week.
See y'all next week.
Bye, guys.
Take care.